Hello, good morning. It is wet. Hopefully you can see me. I'm sat in a slightly different position just to get some light in really because the sky is dark grey. Same colour as my lovely t-shirt, my glorious t-shirt. And we've had so much rain this morning, absolutely unbelievable. So let me just move to a position that you can see me hopefully. While I have my Slurpee and we can have a chat. Okay, I've got another My Thoughts to do. Actually, I've got two My Thoughts to do. I think they're quite short really. And this is from Claire L, you know you are. Okay, so it's probably your thoughts on the current schooling or current education system. I'm thinking about teenagers at school that hate it. Hello, Bode. Can you get down, please? That's that one. And the second one is, what is the benefits, your thoughts on what are the benefits of massage? Oh, you say there, you understand that I have a weekly massage. I don't have a monthly massage, but yeah. My thoughts on schooling, I've covered that really in a couple of videos before. So schooling is an institution, isn't it, to condition kids, to make them subservient, to make them not question anything, and to make them, they all got to dress the same, so they've got to look the same, but not only that, worse than that, they've got to think the same, and behave the same, respond in the same manner and all the rest of it. So they've even got to put their hand up if they want to use the toilet or leave the class if they feel ill or whatever. And basically all kids are taught the same. So you've got maybe 25 to 35, even 40 kids in a class, and they're all taught blah 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 blah. When it comes to tests and exams, they're all given the exact same sheet, as if they should have all understood the exact itchy head, the exact same thing. Their answers, they must respond in the exact same way as all of their classmates, otherwise it's classed as a fail. And there doesn't seem to be any leeway on that still after all these years of schooling and education. I think it stems creativity, schooling, because you are supposed to just be one of the rest of the sausage factory, and that's what it is. They want everybody to look the same, be the same, behave the same, talk the same, think the same, learn the same. How can you learn the same as 30 odd kids? As an adult, you walk down the street and just gather 30 odd people. Your thought patterns won't be the same as them. You won't have the same aspirations in life. You won't have your own set of morals, you know, between all of you. It won't be exactly the same. You will have a different outlook to probably all of those people, but certainly some of those people, and hence those people will have a different outlook on life, on everything than you've got. And that is being an individual. When you go to school, the individualism is wiped out. It is literally, they don't want it. They don't want a creative type person. They don't want an analytical thinker. They don't want somebody with their own way of being, their own way of thinking, their own way of doing things. You're a troublemaker. You're a troublemaker. If you don't do exactly what you're supposed to do, the same as all the rest of the kids in the school, you're a waste of space. And teachers turn their back on those kids, and they concentrate on the kids because of Ofsted. Ofsted says you must get this score and you must do this and you must do that. So because of Ofsted, they ignore those kids with a creative spark or their own individuality or their own way of thinking or being. They ignore them and they look at the kids they can mould into this sausage factory production line of conditioning and programming. Get kids to think the same thoughts awful. That's what school is. I wish it wasn't, and my thoughts on it, I wish they could be more individual. I wish they could accept the child as having a different point of view, a different way of being, and hone in on that and really embrace it and say that kid is brilliant, that kid's going to go far, that kid's got his own mind. But they don't. They have to get rid of that mind and replace it with conditioning and programming. As I've just said, really, this arm's low on this chair. I hate it. I hated it when I went to school. I still hate it all these years later. Because it's not right and it's not fair. It's not fair. I saw something on, was it Facebook, a few years back, and it said there was a class, but the class was an elephant, an ant, and a monkey. Elephant, an insect, and a monkey. And it said, well done everybody, you've all very nearly passed the test. All we want you to do, just to finish, is just quickly climb the tree. Now that's exactly the same as school, isn't it? Because there will be somebody who's incapable, totally incapable of climbing the tree, like the elephant. Okay, it's not climbing a tree, but it's working a certain way, thinking a certain way, doing exactly what everybody else wants. There are kids that are incapable of doing that. They're far superior sometimes to other children. They've got their own way of being. I think intellect sometimes is a born thing. Education, and I've said this in a video before, education is measured on memory. That's all it is. It's just what can that child remember. So if that child has a good memory, they're clever. If that child's memory is quite poor, they're thick or stupid. So if a teacher says, what is the capital of France? And the kids don't know. So the teacher says, well, the answer is Paris. Now, tomorrow, if the teacher says, what is the capital of France? And all the kids, bar 2, put their hands up. And he says, all right, hang on, you two, what's the capital of France? And one says, I can't remember. And the other one says, it's Yugoslavia. He has a stab in the dark. And then he says, all right, all the rest of the kids, 28 kids, all answer on the count of 3. What is the capital of France? 1, 2, 3. And they all go Paris. So they're all classed as being clever because they've got a memory. But these 2 kids that couldn't remember, one had a stab in the dark, one just was honest, are classed as being stupid or backward or thick or probably not causing disruptions in class and things like that because they didn't quite get it. They didn't remember it. They couldn't remember it for whatever reason. And sometimes kids are thrown so many different things, in school about history or bloody mathematics and English and art and poetry, and it goes on and on and on, that sometimes it's difficult to remember a certain thing. So when you're thrown all this stuff and they suddenly say, which famous novelist wrote Far From the Madding Crowd? And if you say, I can't remember, because you just learned about 50 different novelists or authors, whatever you want to call them, and you can't remember the answer to that, then you're stupid. So education is actually just memory. That's how it's valued, that's how it's processed. It is just a person's memory. So we class somebody as being intelligent because of their memory. Makes you wonder, doesn't it? That's fact. It's absolutely ridiculous. But yeah, I think school wipes out individuality, and I think the only way of progressing with education is to pick up on those people and to lower the class numbers to 4 or 2 or 5. Have children with their own way of thinking or with a creative spark or whatever. have them pushed forward and see how far they can go. Schools don't do that. It's all about money and Ofsted and stuff like that, and it's all about getting everybody to be exactly the same. And as I say, if you walk down the street and you spoke to 30 people, you may not find anybody quite like you. You know, I deeply connect with very, very few people on this planet, and I honestly don't think that too many people really get me. I don't think that, you know, I've got some good close friends and they get me and I understand them and I hope they understand me, and I'm sure they do, otherwise we wouldn't be good friends. But they're very limited, you know, 6 friends, 7 friends, 8 friends I've got, something like that I would put into that bracket. But the rest probably don't quite get me. But at school, you're all supposed to do and be and think the same and even dress the same. How silly is that? That the teacher can wear red shoes, but you must wear black. You can't wear brown. Oh no, why not? You must wear this and you must wear that. This is school uniform. Well, then why don't teachers wear it? Set an example. Lead by example. So I've got lots of problems with school. I wasn't pushed at school by any stretch of the imagination. I didn't like school, little school. I didn't like school at all. I never liked school all the way through. I left at 15. But even in little school, I never liked it. Didn't like the teachers shouting the odds and lording it around the place. Didn't see the point in it. Didn't like it. I didn't understand that we've got to dress the same as every other child. Put your hand up just to leave the classroom. You're not even an individual. You're not a human being. You can't make up your mind, oh, my bladder's full, I need to go and relieve myself. You can't do that. You must say, sir, please can I use the toilet, in front of all the other children. And because they want power over you, they normally say something like, no, you should have went in your break time. It happened to me once. I had a teacher called Mr. Shirley. I was about 11. I was at big school. I hadn't been there long. It was summertime. We had break. And I was charging around, running around like you do as a kid. And hot and sweaty. I ate my sandwiches. I had my can of Coke. And I went to the tuck shop. And I bought, I think it was a Fanta or some orange or something like that. And I had that. And my mate said, let's go and fill our bottles up with water. So we went to the fountain and filled up our bottles with water. And I still had however long of the break left to go, so I drank most of that as well. And I had a wee, you know, and then the bell went, so I went back to my class, and it was Mr. Shirley. And I was only in there maybe 15, 20 minutes. I thought, oh God, I need a wee. Anyway, I looked at the clock, it's an hour lesson, I looked at the clock, and I thought, I've only been here 15 minutes. And I'm starting to sort of nearly jiggle, you know. And then I looked again, it's past, and I thought, I'm going to bloody piss myself, you know. I said, excuse me, sir? And he said, yes. And I said, can I go to the toilet, please? No. He said, you should have went in your break. And I said, well, I did go in my break. And he went, no. And I said, fuck you. I was 11. It was so naughty of me. I said, fuck you. And I got up and I walked out, and he said, if you leave this class, you'll be up with the headmaster. I just carried on walking. I never spoke to him, but I went down to the toilet and had a wee, and I came back to the class. And he said, get out. I said, what do you mean? He said, get out, stand outside. So I had to go and get my bag and stand outside. Then he came and spoke to me, and he said, I don't appreciate your attitude. And I said, I apologise for swearing, but I was really in need of a toilet. He said, why didn't you go at break time? I told him I did. He said, then you didn't need to go now. And I said, how do you know my body? And he said, that's the attitude I mean. And he grabbed hold of me, physically grabbed hold of me, and he marched me to the headmaster's office. And he shouted at me, the headmaster and whatever, you know, but it's just crap really, you know. I mean, I was a human being who needed to go to the toilet. How can another human being have that much power over you that they know whether your bladder is full or empty? How can they do that, you know? So yeah, I've got lots of problems with school. Hated it, really, if I'm honest. You know, I had some great friends at school and I used to love going there to see them, but on the whole, I didn't bother going to school. As I say, I wasn't pushed. You know, you either do well at school for the teachers, because you've got some good teachers who really encourage you, you know, oh, well done, you got 96 in this test, I feel you can get 100, try better for me. So you try better and you go back in and say, you got 99, well done, I'm so pleased, you know. And they really mean it, and they are good teachers, and they say, look, you know, try and get just one more. You know, so you try hard for the teachers, or you try hard for your parents. I didn't find that I clicked really with any teachers, not really. So I couldn't give a shit really what they thought of me or said or whatever. But when I went home, you know, my so-called father, I mean, we can forget him, he was just nothing. But my mum, bless her, she was a lovely mum, she was a good mum, great mum, I think, really. But she was very busy. There was 5 children, she had 3 jobs. And I can remember, even as a little boy, maybe 8, 9 or 10, and I used to go home with my sons, and I'd say, Mum, you know, I got all my whatever it was, sums or spellings. Actually, spellings I was good at. I'd go home with my spellings and I'd say, Mum, I got 8 out of 10. And she'd say, oh, well done. And that was it, really. And if I went in and I said, Mum, I got 2 out of 10, she'd say, well done. And if I got 10 out of 10, she'd say, well done. So it didn't really matter. Not that she was being horrible to me. She was just busy and all the rest of it, you know, and I understand that. So I didn't really need to impress my mum in any way. There was no need to do that. So you're only left with yourself to impress. And really in life you can only ever impress yourself. That's what I think. It doesn't matter about the outside of you. Are you okay inside? Are you a decent person? Are you doing okay in life? Are you a kind, generous, nice person, you know? Are you capable of whatever, being a friend to somebody, caring deeply about somebody? Are you giving in your being? Is that your nature? You know, that's all of that should impress you. So if you can't impress the teachers because you don't get on with them, that was my case. It didn't really matter what my mum thought, because she just sort of said, oh, well done. It didn't really matter, so I had nobody there to impress. So I only got myself to impress, but at that age, you're not yourself. There is very little of you that's kind of found yourself, you know, when you're 8, 9 or 10. I think in your teenage years, you start to understand who you are and what you're about and things like that. You certainly know your dislikes. Even at 8, 9 or 10, you do know your dislikes. And I loved art. I loved mixing colours. Just mixing colours and just working things out. And I always loved that. I loved reading books as well. That was one of my favourite sort of things to do. I liked the countryside. I used to like going out walking with my mates. That was good. And I liked odd sort of things. I loved balloons as a child. I absolutely loved them. I loved bouncing balloons. I loved everything about a balloon. I loved the fact you could talk into it and there was a slight rounded echo that would come back to you and things like that. I loved the fact you could rub it and make static out of it. If you blew it up too hard, obviously it would pop. But before it would pop, it would turn white. So even if it was a bright red balloon, there was so much about balloons that I loved. And I loved magnets. Absolutely loved magnets. Here's a little secret for you. I still love magnets. I still love magnets. I'm in the art room now, but if you come and visit me, you will see on my coffee table, I've got, how many have I got? 4, 8. I think there's 1,200 magnets. They're minuscule, tiny, they're like 2 millimeters, so they only take up a hand, you know, that's all. Purple is my favourite colour, so I got them in purple. They're balls, purple balls, tiny minuscule purple balls, as small or smaller actually than that ball there. And what you can do, you can make things with them and mess around with them, and they're just nice to feel and hold and stuff like that, I think, anyway. And I love the polarities where they don't quite want to meet and they want to go around the corner and things like that. So I don't know what all that is about, but as a good teacher, now I would think that child's interested in magnets, how they work and things like that, and building things and balloons. So what could that child be interested in? Would it be engineering? Would it be woodwork or metalwork or something working with his hands? They could have started moulding me into something. Instead of that, I was just told to be like all the rest of the kids. I wouldn't wear a tie. Just absolutely refused to wear a tie. And I think a tie is like a noose. It's dangerous. You know, I don't know if they have clip-on ties or what now, you know, but my tie, it was a proper tie and you had to bloody learn to tie it up and all the rest of it. And you get into a fight or a bit of a scrap or whatever and people would yank your tie. Very, very dangerous, I think. So I refused to wear it. And they used to write letters home and all stuff like that, but I still wouldn't wear it. But, you know, I had to wear it. I had to wear it, and I had to wear this white shirt and this black blazer and do this and think this way and talk that way and respond in this sort of a way. I didn't like it. I honestly felt every single day at school they were trying to damage me. How awful is that? A little child really at school. I felt they were trying to take parts of me away, and of course that's what they were doing. But I felt that for so many years, all of my school life, I honestly felt that. And when I grew up, when I was sort of 12, 13, 14, I didn't really go to school very often, if I'm honest, you know, but when I did, I used to look around. I know this does sound awful, but I used to look around at some of the other kids and I thought, he or she is not even a person. You know, they were dressed exactly as the school said they've got to dress. Being their answer, you know, back, who can tell me? And their hand was up before the even bloody teacher got the question. Hear me belly rumbling. I'm starving, but I'm going out in a minute, so in the rain. Yeah, I honestly thought that they were stealing bits of me, but there were some kids that were so not them. They were so into school, just thinking and being like that. And there was kids in the dinner hour, you know, they'd be walking from one place to another, and if there was a bit of a litter, they'd pick it up and they'd put it in the bin. You know, which is now as an adult, that's what I do, but that's a different thing altogether. They were doing it out of a programmed way of being. Be proud of yourself, proud of your uniform, proud of the school, pick up litter, other people's litter, and stuff like that. You know, I mean, they would pick it up with their hands. But yeah, I don't know really. It's funny, isn't it? Because now you've got all over Facebook, you know, now we're in the sort of modernish age, you've got all the mums saying, oh, well done to my child, you know, they scored 9 out of 10 in this test. Well, does it matter? Actually, no, it doesn't. Well done, my child can remember slightly more than a couple of other children in the class. Well done. That's great. But is that child an individual? Can that child think for themselves, or has it been stripped away from them? Has what makes that child been stolen by the education system? Hark at me, working out. Yeah, didn't like it. Okay, I could talk about this all day, couldn't I? So we draw it to a close. I think to value anybody in life is a very, very important lesson, a very important thing. And you should value children as well. Children are still people. They've still got something to add. Listen to children. Listen, even if they're talking bullshit, or you think they're talking bullshit, or they're talking about their imagination, listen. How wonderful is that, that that child's got this free-thinking little bubble in his brain or her brain. It's wonderful. You know, children should be celebrated and loved and cherished in a nice, normal, proper way. And they should be absolutely valued for their input into whatever, into a conversation, into school. They should be absolutely valued. And especially if they're good at sport or art or geography or whatever, you know, that should be picked up on, not rubbed out. Thank you very much, Claire. And I've got the other one to do in a sec. I'll do that in a minute. Cheers. Take care. And be well. Ta-da!